Hello everyone, welcome to the session. In this session, we are going to learn about grant hierarchy in Salesforce. So let's proceed and firstly understand what does we mean by grant hierarchy. So before explaining it, I want to ask you some one question. Like what if you want to control the role access at a particular object? You have seen that while controlling a role access, we are working on all the object, not on a particular object. There is no option for the objects, so it will works for all the object. But what if we want to control the access at a particular object? So at that moment this concept of grant hierarchy come into the play. So now let's understand what does we mean by the grant hierarchy. So in Salesforce, the grant access using hierarchy option is an important setting that impact how record access is determined within the organization. By default, for standard object, the grant access using hierarchy option is unable. By this, user in a higher role in the role hierarchy automatically gain access to the record owned by the user in the role hierarchy below them. But in the case of the custom object, the grant access using hierarchy option is unable, but it can be customized based upon your organization need. If the option is disabled for the custom object, record access is restricted to the record owner and a user are granted access through the organization wide default. It will not work upon the role hierarchy structure. It will work according to the organization wide defaults that we have already discussed. In addition to this, users with the view all and modify all object permission, as well as those with the view all data and modify all data system permissions, retain the access to all record of the custom object regardless of their ownership. So with this I mean to say that in Salesforce we have a concept of the grant hierarchy, which control the access at a particular object. By default in standard object it is automatically enabled, but for the custom object you can enable it and also disable it. But in case of a standard object you can't change it or customize it. It will always remain enabled. And if you will disable this option for the custom object, it will not work as per the role hierarchy. It will start working the control access based upon the organization default known as OWD in Salesforce. So now let's proceed and learn how to set up a grant access hierarchy in Salesforce Lightning. So for this, your first step is to log in into your Salesforce account in a Lightning interface as an administrator. Once you successfully logged in, make sure that you are on a main home setup page. But by default, we always land it to the home page of the Lightning interface. So for this, you need to click on the gear icon that is given on the top right side and click on the setup option that takes you to the setup for the current app. It will open up a new tab, and in this new tab you will be located on the page name as a home setup. And once you are reached on that page, on the left side you will see a quick find box given. Now move yourself to the quick find box and here simply type the sharing setting, and once you typed it, it will get you the result of the sharing settings under the security. Click on that option and it will take you to the page where you will see the sharing setting of your organization. And here you can see that it has a organization wide default section, and here it has a edit button. Click on this edit button, and here you can see that here it has a last column named as a grant access using hierarchy. And for all the standard object, this checkbox is already checked. We can't change it. We doesn't have any option of modifying it, but in the case of the custom object you can change the setting. So let's check for the custom object. So here I have three custom objects such as a custom object employee and national holiday, and you can see that here I can check and uncheck this checkbox, and with the help of this I can control the access of a particular object regardless of the role hierarchy. If I disable this checkbox, it will work according to the OWD rule for the sharing setting, and if I remain the this box as is checked, it will not follow the rule of OWD. It will start following up the rule of the role hierarchy. So with this we have successfully learned to set up the grant access hierarchy in Salesforce Lightning. So now we will proceed to our next topic, that is set up grant access hierarchy in Salesforce Classic. So for this, your first step is to log in into your Salesforce account in the Classic interface as an administrator. Once you successfully logged in, make sure to click on the setup option that is given on the top right side, and it will take you to the Classic setup page. And once you reached on the Classic setup page, we have a quick find box given on the left side, and here you simply need to search for the sharing setting. If you don't want to go with that option, you will get this sharing settings option under the security control drop down that you will get under the administer sections. And once you get this option, click on this sharing setting option. It will take you to the page where you can customize the sharing settings. And once you reached here, it has a section of organization by default. Click on the edit button given on the top, and once you click on the edit button, it will open up the edit section where you can change the setting of the organization wide sharing default. And here you can see that for the standard object, it has a column name grant access using hierarchy, and this checkbox are not able to customizable. These checkbox are remain enabled. You can't disable these checkboxes, but in case of a custom objects, we have a facility to customize these grant access hierarchies in Salesforce. Like here I have some custom objects like a custom object, and I can check it and uncheck it according to my requirement. If you want to disable, you can uncheck it simply and click on the save button that is given on the top of the page. Once you click on the save, it successfully save up the grant access hierarchy, and it will notify your the changes on your email once it will successfully done. And based upon that, now it will start following up the OWD rules for assessing the control instead of the role hierarchies. So with this, our today's session, and in the next session we will learn about the public groups in Salesforce.